Hello, this is Jimmy Mitchell, and we are back for another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. First, we have students sue school district over suspensions for liking racist posts from New York Post from 2017. And I posted that, and I said, old article from 2017 that my mom shared with me today that she said they were using to talk about the First Amendment at her job. She's currently working as an aide for a high school student with Down syndrome. It's still pretty relevant in the current climate, so I thought I would share it here. I personally think if a school or business wanted to suspend or fire anyone for any reason, that they should be able to do so, but as a supporter of free speech, I personally wouldn't justify doing so for anything they did outside school or work. So, next we have organ and body donations from last week tonight on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, I always try and watch whatever segments last week tonight uploaded to YouTube. I know whatever arguments Oliver uses are usually going to be used by the hive mind of the Twitter/Reddit left. John Oliver is very much the modern Jon Stewart in that regard. Anyway, I think that the libertarian perspective is that you should be able to donate your body and/or organs whenever or however you want to, and anyone who wants to claim should be able to do so. Oliver makes a big stink over one body being dissected in the barn of a Marriott hotel by a guy with no scientific credentials, but I think the libertarian perspective there would be if he wanted to do so, then he should be able to as long as the nap is not being violated, which I think is pretty hard to do when it comes to dead people. They can't say no to anything. So, next we have, legality does not equal morality from LP National on Twitter, and I posted that, and that's their meme they share. It says, friendly reminder, legality is not equal morality, the Holocaust was legal, hiding Jews was criminalized, slavery was legal, freeing slaves was criminalized, segregation was legal, protesting racism was criminalized. And I said, a big problem our society has today that some people want to enforce their morality and others through law, even if people aren't hurting anyone else. Then we have Dems go full authoritarian, rigged Florida primary from Breaking Points on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, the 2024 Florida Democratic primary ballot, Joe Biden, and then the other thing is write-in. I said, these are the same people who say democracy is the most important thing ever. Looks like they might not have a primary at all and just automatically award the delegates to Biden. And I added, I do think Trump had an opponent on the ballot in most states for the 2020 primaries. I think he had he was only unopposed, I think, in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Georgia, New Mexico, Washington, Oregon for the states who had primaries. But I don't like how they kind of handed it to him either, like they're currently doing to Biden. So that's my thoughts there. I don't think the party should just be handing the nomination to the incumbent president just because they're the incumbent president. So that's my thoughts there. Then we have celebrating a lynching is legal, horrific but perfectly legal, and it should be legal. If horrific speech can be banned, government can simply deem what you say to be horrific and ban it, from Spike Cohen on Twitter, and I posted that and I said, legality is not morality. People really need to realize that. Words can hurt people, but I don't think they are violence. We can't suppress speech just because people get hurt or offended. Then we have let the market, not government, decide the fate of electric vehicles, EVs, from AIR.org, the American Institute for Economic Research. And I would very much agree with announcements supposed to buy 2,000 Time of Charm. And I would very much agree with that. I would say, I think the market should determine things, not the state. And I think that's something that we need to consider. We can't just have the state make all the rules and stuff. We need the private individuals to make decisions for themselves as well, not just the state, I would say. and that includes, that's pretty much about everything, especially when it comes to stuff like electric vehicles and all that, and all that. Yeah. Then we have $7.6 trillion of U.S. government debt will mature next year from unusualwealth.com by 2000 time charm, and I definitely do think that's not good, and we need to hopefully do something about it, but I don't think that's coming anytime soon, I would say. Then we have Big Data Knows All About You from John Stossel on YouTube, and I posted that and I said, scary but not surprising, sadly. You know, they probably know what you're always looking at, and you know, so soon they might implement a social credit system based on it for all we know, and that's something that really scares me. But you know, sometimes you just have to deal with it, and I hope we need to resist as long as possible. I think that's my thoughts there. Then we have outrage as 8 of 9 men convicted of park gang rape of a 15-year-old in Germany received no prison time from news.com.au, and I posted that, and I said, I linked to a section of the article. I said, psychiatrist Nala Same, who reportedly appeared before the court as an expert witness, said in a controversial interview with Spiegel that the gang rape may have been a way to vent frustration due to migration experiences and socio-cultural homelessness. And I said, people will justify letting others do the worst things imaginable if the narrative says otherwise. Like, if this were white MAGA people, everyone would be hemming and hawing about a miscarriage of justice, but instead, people are looking for excuses, and that's why I think identity politics is so divisive, I would say. Then we have I'm here for it, and that's a tweet from John Fetterman on Twitter. I bought my ethnically challenged colleague, Bob Menendez, at New Jersey, could use some encouragement given his substantial legal problems, so I approached the season's expert on the matter to give Bobby from Jersey some advice, and that was him paying for a cameo from George Santos on it. I said, not a big Fetterman fan, but I'll give credit where it's due, and that was supposed to buy Flimsy Al 5563 if I didn't say so already. I think I'm making my mess to spread it in there. Then we have, is Gen Z really the poorest generation from Common Sense Soapbox? And I posted that, and I said, as one of the oldest members of Gen Z, born in 1997, life can be hard, especially when the economy is in the shitter like it is currently. It's not an excuse to implement Marxism, though. Then we have experts say we need more censorship from CBS News, and I posted that, and I said, well, that's not the actual article title, but it might as well be. The actual article title was Elon Musk's X platform fueled far-right riots in Ireland, experts say. And then my comment was, I linked to the 2020 Minneapolis false rumors riot. Interesting the story didn't happen after this, probably because it was in-group doing it rather than out-group. So it just goes to show you that the narrative is based more on who does what than what people are actually doing. And, you know, that's why they need to control the narrative so they can control us, the people. Next we have, are carbon offsets all they're cracked up to be? We tracked one from Kenya to England to find out from Vox.com by Coastal Smostal, and they added spoilers, they're a scam. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. You know, it's just part of the ESG agenda. You know, so the big companies can find a way around, around stuff if they virtue signal enough, and that's sadly just not how the world works. You know, it's ESG, DEI, it's all virtue signaling, and that's why I think we need to get rid of those things as soon as possible. Then we have, Warren Buffett's financial plan to eliminate America's debt. I can end the deficit in 5 minutes from finance.yahoo.com, my ninja lover. And I said, Buffett is just another one of the elites, all talk, no action. Then we have Republicans are blurring the faces of Capitol rioters so they won't get arrested, from RollingStone.com, from Donald Key. And I said, I don't know if I didn't comment on that one, but I think, if they want to do that and release the footage of having the blurred faces out so they don't get in trouble, I think if the Democrats were in charge, they'd probably be blurring the faces of people at the BLM riot footage as well. So I think that's important to remember as well. So, I personally think, we shouldn't, I think we should be as transparent as possible, but I do agree that, you could argue that transparency does have limits, I would say. Then we have, reminder that in their deranged mythology, criticizing Elon Musk is heroic and brave, but criticizing George Soros is Nazism, from Michael Malice on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, it's only not Nazism when the narrative says so. See how they think about Hamas. Hamas says, oh, Hitler didn't go far enough, and that's okay because they're brown and oppressed, but Elon Musk just makes some edgy tweets, and suddenly he's literally Hitler. So it just goes to show you that the narrative matters a lot more than what people actually say. What people say and what people do is much more relevant when the people, when the in group does something, they'll find an excuse. When the out group does it, it's suddenly the worst thing ever. And that's important to remember. Then we have Miller Meeks, Wasserman Schultz, Salazar, Goldheimer, Miller, Moskowitz introduced the commission to study acts of anti-Semitism in the United States Act, from MillerMeeks.house.gov by Frosty Slawman. And I personally think that's just how they're going to try and criminalize speech regarding anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism, so I don't support that. I don't support any acts from the U.S. government because they usually end up being overreach, I would say. I would say pretty much the government existing is overreach to some extent, I would say, and that's important to remember as well. Then we should be building housing, not bombs. We should be funding healthcare, not genocide. And that's from International Silver One. That's a tweet from Jason Cal, Washington O2 Green Party candidate 2024 at Cal for Congress. And and the tweet was, I think that was the tweet was in the post title, but no, it's the country is being blind by the corporate ownership class. All this is stolen labor. Nobody should be voting for the duopoly. And although I don't think me and Mr. Call would agree on everything, I would very much agree with that. Everything is ultimately just controlled, but the narrative control by the duopoly, so people can justify keeping them in power forever. Then we have Trump refuses to tell Hannity he will not abuse power if he re-elected, from thedailybeast.com by Whittling Dan. And I said, I generally wonder how so many Redditors managed to cope through Donald Trump's term in office. I don't like the guy, but I can't stand how all his haters and supporters constantly circle jerk him. And then we have Sean Hannity demonstrates how to help an authoritarian gain power, from WAPO, from the Washington Post by Tom 13. And I said, this subreddit is indistinguishable from MSNBC a lot of the time. It's just like orange, mad, bad constantly. And it can get tiring, especially since we've been at that for like a decade now. Then we have Donald Trump says he will be dictator only on day one. Then he'll focus on drilling, from usatoday.com, from Rocks, and they added, and a reminder from the inevitable dishonest apologist, June 23rd, 2020, Trump says, I don't care after AIDS argue he was joking about slowing coronavirus testing. And I said, the same thing I said on the same thing Fred about the other Fred about this from a while ago. I generally wonder how so many writers managed to go for Donald Trump's turn off. So I don't like the guy, but I can't stand all his haters and supporters constantly circle jerk him. I don't care because it's all theater. Trump did use executive orders too much during his presidency, but so did Biden, Obama, and the people who are criticizing Trump the most don't care about that. In reality, the president is just an interchangeable figurehead. If anything else, it's like I'm watching a soap opera or reality TV with this shit, and I'm so fucking tired of it. Then we have, how do you feel about libertarians that criticize democracy? And from Fuck Tim Beck 6969, he said to me, these are clearly fashion libertarian clothing faults. And I said, democracy is just mob rule and tyranny of the majority. Other people say should have no say as to what your rights are. And they added, and they replied, so you prefer tyranny of the majority? I'll say, I prefer individual liberty, and that's something that I am very passionate about. And I think we're gonna wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.